All right. My purpose in coming here today is to lay information at your feet. All right? I am not preaching from a position of, I know it better than you. I'm coming to you as a brother, and even perhaps as a younger brother. Now, I've been saved since the age of 3. I'm 51, so you do the math. I've been saved a few years. But I submit this to you, my brothers and my sisters. I submit what I'm going to share with you for your consideration. Consider what I'm sharing with you. Search the scriptures and see if it's so. Folks, it's all about Jesus. It's all about Jesus. And in 2004, I started to prepare a message. I was asked to speak, and I prepared a message on the sower and the seed. Well, that's found in 3 Gospels, so I thought, I'm going to read it in the first Gospel, in the second, and the third Gospel, then I'm going to preach on it, what I've learned. So I started to read the first Gospel, and then I read the second Gospel, and I read the third Gospel. By the time I got to the third Gospel, my time was up. So I never really got to share with it. So I thought, there's got to be a better way. So I started looking at it, and I realized that it's pretty much the same story, but there are minor nuances. So what I did is I took those nuances and I combined them, all 3 stories, into one version of the sower and the seed. And then I thought, wow, this is cool. I'm going to start from the beginning of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I'm going to work my way right to the end. And after 14 years, this came out of it. It's called Jesus, One Story as Told by 4 Witnesses, and it's available on Amazon. How many people call themselves Christian? All right. I am a follower of the words and the works of Jesus. I love Jesus. I love his words. I'm choking up. When I talk about my Lord, I start choking up. I love his words, and they have consumed me for well over a decade now. But again, I'm a software engineer, so I'm going to be handling the first part of this message with my technical brain, all right? So the first thing I want to kind of look at, where's my little clicker, is what is the spiritual realm? So how many people here have ever had a supernatural experience? It's pretty wild, isn't it? It's something that you really can't describe necessarily with words, but yet you can describe it with words, but yet words don't seem to justify it. This is kind of going off script already, but this is kind of like interesting. I've asked some people about their supernatural experience. This one guy, he had a vision of himself, and he was doing something. So I asked him, I said, what color was the carpet that you were standing on? And he said, what? What kind of carpet? What were you wearing? What was the color of this? What did this look like? And I started to ask him to describe the environment. You know what? He was able to do it. I noted that when it comes to a supernatural vision or something supernatural, you can go back to that time, and it's like you can almost like relive it. Have you ever noticed that? Have any of you ever noticed that? And that's because the supernatural is a realm that is real. It's not an imagination. It's not like, oh, we believe in the supernatural realm, but it's kind of a fairy tale. No. The realm is real. In this world, we live in a 3-dimensional world. Is that correct? All right. If I had a 2D cutout, a piece of cardboard, and we had it lit just right, your perception of me, you would think, there's Paul up there. Well, it's not really me, it's a piece of cardboard. Why is that? Because we perceive in 2D. Did you know that? All right, and so if you go back to it, well, how do they perceive in a 2D realm? Well, in a 2-dimensional realm, they would perceive in 1 dimension. So using that logic, in a 4th-dimensional realm, we would perceive in 3 dimensions. Now that's kind of hard for us to wrap our minds around, right? So, here we have a shot from Far Cry 5. Have anybody played a video game? Do we have any video gamers here? Have you ever seen anybody play a video game? All right, we've got a few more hands. All right. This is a really good analogy. I want to use video game as an analogy of what the spiritual realm is like. So here we have, this is an artificial world. This is created in a computer. All right? So inside this computer, imagine your computer at home. Inside that computer, this reality is happening. You follow me? Now imagine you're living in this reality. That's your reality. You're living in this video game, and somebody walks up to you and says, "Hey, do you know that there's a real world out there?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm living in the real world. Come on, this is my reality." No. There's a world that's beyond this realm that we're living in. There's something beyond it. Oh, you're crazy. No. Think about it. There's an operation that's happening beyond this. If you look up in the sky, there's actually somebody who's actually playing this game. Well, how is that possible? Imagine coming in alive in a world, yet having the ability to affect the parameters in the environment. Have you ever done any game modding, where that you are playing a video game and you can change elements in it? You ever done that? Okay, a few gamers have. I see some gamers back there. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm with you, all right? In a virtual world, you can actually zoom in through a wall. You can come back out of the wall. You can do anything. I can go inside of another person if I wanted to in that little real world of theirs, and I can zoom back out again. If I wanted to, I could change the gravity of water so that my character could walk on the water. I could actually change how bread works so that the person eats some bread in a video game, and guess what? The bread just keeps on reappearing. And they're able to maybe feed, 4,000, maybe 5,000. I could take a mountain in that video game, and I can say, you know what? I want that mountain in an ocean. And it does what I tell it to do. Click, click, boom, the mountain's down in the ocean. I could take a fig tree, say, you know what? I don't want that fig tree there. Boom, it's gone. Dried up from the roots, gone. It's gone. That's the ability in that realm, because I am operating that little imaginary world. I'm operating it from a super user. I'm doing something beyond. So imagine somebody comes up to you, Grand Theft Auto, and they come up to you and say, "Hey, this world is not real." Yeah, it's kind of real. It's real to us, but there's a realm out there that's really real. And you say, "Come on, where is that realm?" Well, is it here? No, it's within us. It's around us. You go there, and that's the real world. There, that's the real world. Outside of our world, this is where the real world is. But it's also in here too. It's all over. Imagine that concept. You'd think, "Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy. Where is this real world that you're talking about?" But yet, we can relate to that. And I'm trying to draw a picture that this is somewhat like the spiritual realm. That there is a realm that is real. It is eternal. That little character in the video game says, "Oh man, our day is like 30 minutes. But in the real world, a day is like 24 hours. Man, there's like day after, it's completely different. It's incredible." We understand that a day to the Lord is like 1,000 years. Why? Because He is in the real world. You follow me? "Well, I look up and I can't see Him," says the guy in the video or in the little game. "Oh, where is this person that's supposed to be up there and looking at? Oh, you're crazy. You're crazy." They would write you off. So what do? You have to speak in parables. You have to come across in parables. This is why Jesus spoke in parables. Jesus told His disciples, or His disciples asked Him, "Why do you talk to people in parables?" And Jesus says, "Because it's given to you to know the mysteries or the secrets of the kingdom of heaven. But to them it's not given." Jesus says in another place, "I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundations of the world." So parables are not just a story. And this is something that I have looked up, and I have an issue with a lot of scholars. And a lot of scholars will say parables are just stories. That is not true. Parables contain a story, but Jesus says that there is a second layer that is revealing secrets. All right? We all agree with that. There's another layer to parables. It's not just a story. A story has a moral. There's a moral to the story, right? But it's more than just a moral to the story. There's another layer of truth. And this is what I started to notice when I was studying the parables. That there is another layer. And I want to help you to assemble and start to kind of have a perception as to what that layer is. Because it's my desire to help you, my brother, my sister, to comprehend and understand that spiritual layer. Jesus says, "Fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell." Here Jesus is telling us we have a soul and we have a body. And then Jesus says further on, he says, "Are not two sparrows sold for a farthing? And one of them shall not fall to the ground without your Father." Now I understand that. The first thing Jesus says, in the 3D realm, we communicate through soul and body. The second thing he says is that nothing happens without the Father being aware of it. And then he says, the very hairs of your head are numbered. So Jesus is saying nothing happens without the Father being aware of it. Now in software, we call that an error log. Do you know that everything you do on your computer is logged? Go to Control Panel, Start Menu, Control Panel, Administrative Tools, Event Viewer, click down the sub-menu a little bit, and then you'll see all these logs. Everything you do is logged. Very interesting. Jesus says, the very hairs of your head are numbered. That word numbered means, it comes from the word arithmos, where we get the word arithmetic. That means to enumerate or count. There is a finite number. Every hair is sequentially numbered. And that's easy. I can say for x equals 0 to 500 minus 1. Now I have a countdown. In computer code, that would be a countdown. Every cell is also encoded with DNA. It's kind of like we're a giant computer program. Very interesting. So I'm contending here that the fourth dimension is essentially what we refer to as the realm of the Spirit. Jesus says God is a spirit. Notice how is in italics? So that is actually saying God, a spirit. And they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Spirit is the location, and truth is how. Now, it's almost like God is not a spirit. He is spirit. It's like God's the box, and everything is contained inside of him. Nothing happens outside of God. God is our all and all. Everything was created in him. He is the realm. And in order to communicate with God, Jesus says we must do it in spirit, in that realm, but in truth. All right. So in God's realm, we communicate through spirit. Spirit is the location, truth is the means. Man was given a body to interact with the 3D realm, and a spirit to interact with the fourth dimension, or the spirit realm. Why does Paul say, walk in the Spirit?